Hello Ace, this is RetroTK2 and today we're looking at switch statements in C#. If this is your first C# video, I'd strongly suggest watching the series from the start. The card should be on your screen now. And if you haven't already, might I suggest downloading the channel files that accompany this video. The card should be on your screen once again. So let's get started. What is a switch statement? According to the Microsoft Docs, switch is a selection statement that chooses a single switch section to execute from a list of candidates based on a pattern match with the match expression. The switch statement is often used as an alternative to an else-if construct if a single expression is tested against 3 or more conditions. A switch statement includes one or more switch sections. Each switch section contains one or more case labels followed by one or more statements. No two case labels may contain the same expression. Only one switch section in a switch statement executes. I'm going to go on record here, Ace, and just say that I really don't like switch statements. About 99% of the time there is a much better solution than a big switch statement. Still, it is a well-known feature and it's probably worth knowing. Open up Unity and create a basic C# script. As always, make sure you give your script a different name than any other class in your project. Once again, Ace, I'm going to use Unity Spice for our logging. If you'd like to get it too, follow the card on your screen now, or click the link in the description. To declare a basic switch statement, start by typing out the keyword switch. Then open your brackets and type the name of the variable you would like to check against. Here I'm just going to create a very basic int called number. Close your bracket, then open and close your curly braces. As it stands, this is probably the most basic switch statement you could make, Ace, but it doesn't really serve any purpose. That's because we need to add in some case statements to check against our variable number. If we type out the keyword case, we can then give a value for our variable to check against, and we can top the whole thing off with a colon. Here we can add in all our statement logic, which will be a very simple string logout in this case, Ace. After that, we need to close off our case statement with one of the valid jump statements. What are the valid jump statements? Well, according to the Microsoft Docs, they are break, goto, and return. We've already seen 2 of these in action before, Ace. If you remember from our loops video, the card is on your screen now in case you missed that, Ace, the break statement terminates the closest enclosing loop or switch statement in which it appears. We have to put our break statement after all the code in our case statement. We can also add in more case statements as well, Ace. Below your last case statement, type case and give it a value to check against. Put your logic after the colon and close it all off with a break statement. Don't forget, Ace, we can't use a previous value in our switch statement, and doing so will give us the error duplicate case label value 0. So our code will flow to the start of the switch statement. Then it will come to the first case statement, which is 0 in this case, Ace. And since our variable day is equal to 0, it will execute our cases logic, hit the break jump statement, and exit the switch statement. Very, very simple, Ace. All logic that we have seen in our else-if statements in the previous videos. Save, head back into Unity, drag your script onto any game object in the scene, and run the game. And hello is logged as expected. Superb. You can also have multiple cases executing the same block of code. If I add another case label below our case 0, the program will check our variable against this case as well, and if it is equal to it, it'll execute the same code. Obvious, I'm sure, Ace. Less obvious is that you're not allowed to have case checks following through each other. If I add a case below our 0 and 1 cases, you'll see we get an error if we remove the break keyword. Break statement is missing. If you did want this fall through logic, you would have to use the goto jump statement. What is the goto jump statement? Well, according to the Microsoft Docs, the goto statement transfers the program control directly to a labeled statement. A common use of the goto is to transfer control to a specific switch case label or the default label in a switch statement. I've already said I don't like switch statements, Ace, but I hate goto statements. I've never used one in C#, nor do I think I ever will in the near future. With a goto statement, you overcomplicate your code and make it unnecessarily difficult to follow. If we head back to our code, I've created another case for the value 2. Here I'll log out another string, but instead of adding in a break statement, I will instead add in a goto statement to case 0. Truly terrible, Ace. I'll also change our number variable to 2. Save, head back into Unity, and rerun. And case 2 is logged, and so is hello. Now I absolutely hate this type of coding, and I would argue that the sacrifice of clarity in the code is made completely in vain, since there is zero benefit of the Goto statement. A nicer way to achieve this logic, in my opinion, would be to separate the case 0 logic into a separate method, and then call the method in both the case 0 and case 2 statements. So now our case 2 carries out its own logic first, and then calls the case 0 method to carry out the case 0's code. I'm sure you'll say that this code is ugly and unnecessary, and you also probably hate the fact that we've repeated method calls one after another. And I completely agree, this is ugly, and is the main reason I do not like switch statements. Okay, rant over. You can also use a return statement in the place of a standard break statement, Using the return statement will return from the start method early and won't execute any code following our switch statement. All behaviour we've come to expect by now, Let's check out the default case. What is it? Well, according to the Microsoft Docs, the default case specifies the switch section to execute if the match expression does not match any other case label. If a default case is not present and the matched expression does not match any other case label, program flow falls through the switch statement. The default case can appear in any order in the switch statement. Regardless of its order in the source code, it is always evaluated last, after all case labels have been evaluated. The default case can be placed in any order in the switch statement, but it's usually best practice to put it at the end. This is basically our else statement, and if our variable does not satisfy any of the other cases, it will execute the code inside this statement. If I change our number variable to 3, save, head back into Unity, and rerun the game, default is logged. Now, the int data type is not the only type you can use with the switch statement. You can use a bool, char, string, enum, and of course all their corresponding nullable types. Usually we'll be using the switch statement with an enum type, If you remember from the last video, the card is on your screen now in case you missed that, we created an enum of days in a week. Here I'm happy to use that same enum, and I'll create a variable called day. So now we can use that enum in our case checks in the way you would expect, Nothing too crazy here, just a simple statement to log out a string if it's a weekday or the weekend. Save, head back into Unity, and rerun, and weekday is logged. One pretty cool thing you can do if you have resharper is to convert your switch statement to an if-else statement. If I click on the switch keyword and press Alt and Enter, you'll see we get the option to if-else. If we press Enter on it, you'll see it converts it to our if-else statement. Subsequently, you can also convert your if-else statements to a switch statement, if of course the logic of your if statement allows for it. Repeat the same procedure, only this time press Enter on Convert to Switch. Very nice and very easy, This has been a good look at switch statements. And that's it. Rate, comment and subscribe, I hope you never use these in your code. You can email me at retrotk2@gmail.com with anything you like. Thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.